Well, hello. I'm glad you could join us today. Today we've got a very special episode planned that I've been planning on doing for a while, but I just never got a chance to, and we're going to try it out. All right, the first thing we're going to do, the first thing I've done, I've coated the canvas with a thin, even coat of the liquid white, and that's what I was doing when we started here. All right, next we're going to go down to our palette, and as you can see today, we're going to do a painting using just 3 colors. We're going to use black, white, and orange. And the reason we're doing this is so we can teach you about value. What value means, which I've talked about a few times in our shows before, it means how light or how dark a certain shade of color is. So, you know, if you, like say the color blue, everyone knows the primary color blue, which is the one we all are taught when we're in like first grade or kindergarten. Hey, this is the color blue. Well, you know, if you add black to that, you get a really dark blue color. If you add white, you get a really light blue color, like almost a sky blue sort of color. And that goes for every color. Any color you make, you can make it either lighter or darker. And when you're painting, sometimes the most important thing is not the color you use. It's the value, the shade, whether it's dark or light. You know, I often say on the show that sometimes the darkness, the dark undercolor is more important than the highlight. And that's true with this too. So if you have a darker color underneath and you highlight it with a lighter color, it's still going to look like what you want it to look like, even if you don't use the right color. So to start out today, I'm going to go ahead and get some orange on my brush, and we're going to go up here to the top corner and just start putting it in our sky. Just put it in there. If we need some more, we'll start at the top and go down, because we want this to get lighter as it goes down towards the horizon. We're just kind of using egg-shaped strokes. You know, I normally don't have the color orange. I don't ever buy it. What this is just a mixture of yellow and red. Cad yellow and cadmium red, actually. You know, you can use any color to do this, and it's going to make a very interesting painting, and your painting will all look like it belongs together, because the common theme here, your colors, your palette that you're using. Of course, mixing these colors together that we've got, we can make several different colors. The little streak you see in the sky here is just where there was some paint left in the brush from where I cleaned it out last time. And you know what? It looks nice in the painting, so I'm just going to go with it. All right, a little more of this orange color. Made a big pile of it at the beginning, but it still might not be enough. I hope I don't run out. We'll figure it out. We just want to make sure that whatever colors we use, whatever we mix together, that we put our darkest color in the place where we would normally put dark colors like blue, black, and brown. What's interesting about these kind of paintings, especially with the color like orange, is when a different color light hits the painting, it's going to make the painting look much different. Much different. It won't even look like the same painting. You know, a lot more things than we realize are made using just 3 or 4 colors. In fact, anything can be printed using just 3 or 4 colors. So most of the things we see every day, like comics, cartoons, advertisements, they're done with just 3 colors because it's cheaper to print that way. And if you're using just a few colors, like I was saying earlier, it will look different underneath every different light, but it will always be consistent. It will look the same. As you can see, I'm getting a little bit of that color in from the last painting that's on my easel already. We're not worried about that at all. Just make it look more interesting. Ooh, there's a big one. I'm going to blend that out, because this is an orange painting, not a green painting. Maybe we'll do a green one some other time. And most of the paintings are green. All the plants, trees, and bushes and stuff. All right, and we're just going to leave a little bit of this white here in the middle, because we're going to end up, it's going to end up kind of looking like a sheen going across, because there's going to be water down here. And that is why I'm just doing all vertical strokes, because you want water to look mostly flat. All right. And, you know, if you're using these X-shaped strokes like we did up at the top, you're gonna get little things going on that look like clouds or way off in the distance. And that kind of looks interesting. Okay, I think maybe I'm gonna take a little bit of white and actually put a little cloud in here, just like I normally would. Just dab it in. It's way off in the distance. We're not very worried about it. This is just pure titanium white. Just dabbing it in. And you can put these in however you want. Just imagine how clouds might go. And they don't even have to be very bright. And just put little indications of clouds. They're going to show up pretty bright against the background. And I'm going to wash off my brush real quick where I had that other color in. You know, some people like cleaning the brush, but I think it's annoying, so I try to keep a few different brushes going so I don't have to as often. All right, now that we got a clean, dry brush here, I'm going to just come up and just kind of gently lift on these, just slightly. A couple of hairs. We're not trying to destroy it. We just want to fluff them up. And then just slightly across, have it blend in. So it'll look like clouds. I'm looking over here at my TV screen so I can see this how you see it. And that's enough of that. We're not too worried about clouds. Some paintings we spend a lot of time doing clouds and talking about how to do them. We're not doing that today. All right, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to go back down to our palette, and we're going to take some black. Probably should have gotten more black, but you know what, we got this. We're going with it. And we're going to go back up and put in a mountain, and we'll do it just like normal, just using black. We're not too worried about the inside, just the outside of this mountain, the outside edge. And just right now we're kind of going along and just scraping off the excess paint because we don't want it to be very thick. And after we do that, we're gonna get a clean brush and just kind of scrape it down. Actually, this one wasn't clean, but it had black on it, so it's just the same. And as you can see, that black, as it mixes in with the orange, which is yellow and red, it kind of makes a green color. So even though we're only using 3 colors, we get a lot of things going on here. It'll look great when your painting is done. And already, as you can see, we're sort of laying out our mountain. As we're taking this down, we can see what direction we're going with it. Maybe I'm going to have a little projection that comes up right here. So I'll change the angle a little bit. It's not very important though. Okay. Now I'm going to get my palette knife. I'm going to go down to the palette here and mix a little white with a little of the orange. Almost looks like a creamsicle going on here. Alright, I'm going to wipe some of that off. I'm just going to come get some of it. And when I normally put snow in the mountains, it's white, but we're doing 3 colors, so use whatever we want here. Just let the paint break. It's very light as you go down. Leave some of these dark areas. The way to make light appear is to leave dark behind it. It's all about contrast, especially when you're doing something like this. Just making it look like orange snow. Imagine snow would look orange if the sky was orange. It was reflecting off of it. Maybe a little projection there. And a little bit right here. And we're not too worried about this bottom because we're going to diffuse this, but we do want to get some of the color down there. That way we can make sure that when we do come along and tap and diffuse the bottom, that some of it will show up. All right, for the other side, we're going to do the same thing, except with a little bit of black. Make this a very dark orange color. It'll actually kind of turn green as we mix it up. And we'll do that just the same. We'll come back in opposite direction. Just kind of scrub down with it. Very light touch, letting it break. And anywhere you got a shadow in here, you want to put a little highlight on it too, a darker highlight, but still leave some of the dark areas. All right, I think that's good enough on that. And we're going to go ahead and wash our brush. You know, I did a painting a few weeks ago like this, and it turned out really neat, but we ended up vandalizing it. We drew things all over it. It was a lot of fun, but some people are like, why did you mess up that painting like that? Oh, it's all right. I can paint another one anytime. And what I'm doing now, I'm just tapping down at the base of this mountain very hard, almost like I'm trying to destroy it. And then we're just going to come across and we want to lift up so it looks like it's kind of going up the mountain. Then we're going to blend it right across. And already this mountain should look like it's just kind of floating in the sky if we do it right. And we step back and look at this, and it looks like we have done it right. I'm really glad that you all are here to learn with me today. I learn something new every time. This painting is the 48th one I've done, so I'm definitely not done learning yet. All right. Now next I'm gonna take my fan brush and we're gonna go into a little bit of straight black. And we're gonna start out by doing some little trees way off in the background. We're not too worried about these right now because they're just basic shapes. We'll come back and do some other things over them here in a second, so most of them are going to get covered up. Sometimes I take a little too much time doing things that I'm going to cover up. Really, I should plan ahead and maybe not paint some where there's going to be trees over them. Just a bit different shape there. And just turn your brush because you don't want this all looking the same. Fan brushes tend to start bending in one direction after a while, so if you have them all bending one way, it's going to look like your trees are all trying to blow over, and we don't want that. All right, and as I was saying earlier, we're gonna paint some things over these. So maybe right here, I'm gonna have a little evergreen tree. We'll just do it with the corner of our fan brush and tap downward, tapping harder as we go down. Just wherever we want these, maybe one right here. Same way, just tapping down, tapping harder as we go down. We'll start out using the corner of the brush. Maybe there's one right here. And again, we just go down with it. And we'll make these a little bit darker than the trees that are behind them. That way, the trees that are behind them look like they're further away. At least that's what we hope will happen. I have one out here. Maybe it's a little bit different. Maybe the tree's limbs got ripped off on this side when it was little. Maybe we got a tree here that's he's a little bit crooked. He leans over. We won't be turning that one into a telephone pole. Okay, a few more back in the background and just kind of blend in with the others. All right, maybe one more. I like a lot of these little trees, especially in mountain scenes. I like things going over the mountain. And you want to make sure you leave some of this mist here because that's going to create the illusion of distance. You want to make sure that the mountain doesn't look like it's just right up on the trees. That's very important. All right. And I think we're going to go to our 1-inch brush and just pick up some of that black, and we're just going to fill in some dark color down here. Some stuff that we can put highlights on later. Whenever I can, I prefer to go ahead and just do all the dark parts that I can at once. That way I don't have to keep washing brushes and switching back and forth between them. It's a lot less work that way. And I'm lazy. All right. One more. I want it to kind of curve up in the middle because I'm going to have a lake coming up here, so I want it to kind of look like it's going out like this. And maybe down here I'll have another little projection sticking out. We go ahead and decide where everything's going to be. It's going to make it easier for us to get everything laid out the way we want it. And I'm coming back here because I want to have some reflections in the water, so I just want to kind of mirror what we got on top a little bit. All right. I'm going to come back with a brush that's pretty much clean and just pull straight down where we have those reflections. You want to try not to do this at an angle much. Of course, sometimes I mess it up and I do it at an angle. But if you do it at too much of an angle, maybe I'll go a little further down here because we got some trees sticking out. Maybe right there. Maybe that one would reflect. And wherever you do this at, you'll see I'm making little lines wherever I press a brush. So you'll want to go back up to the top wherever the shoreline is going to be and pull straight down from there. And these don't have to be exact. We just want to get the indication of some reflections. They're far off in the distance. They're not that important. We'll just pull lightly across it. We don't want to destroy this. We kind of want to make it look watery. So straight across. And already we got a pretty good scene going on here. And we've only used 3 colors. All right, well down here, I'm gonna start pulling some more down, more reflections. And you know, here I'm gonna pull it down a lot more because I plan to put a big tree in here, covering up part of these that we've already done. All right, maybe a little bit more there, blend it in. And since we got a reflection there, with no tree, we're gonna go ahead and load our brush up with paint and put one in. Let's see, it looks like it's probably about this tall. So we'll just You know, I think that tree should be taller, so I'm going to make it taller. Start up here, just go back over it. That's a great thing about this style of painting is that you can always just change your mind just like that. And just like that, we've changed our tree. Maybe we need to pull some more color down into the water, so we can go taller with it. And just come across. And there we go. Actually, I want to, you know, I really hate it when things run to the bottom because it gets a little bit hard to work with. but that's all right. We'll work around it. Oh, got a little hair on the brush, so just lift that off the canvas. You know, if you go around picking things off with your fingers like this, you're going to end up making a big mess. So maybe keep a pair of tweezers or something around to do it with. That might help out some. And if we bring our reflection too low, we bring it too far down to the water, we can go ahead and add some more land up here. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is go down to our palette. We're going to get a little bit of the dark color and just start making a bank for some of this. You want to do this at an angle. You never want to take this straight down, or it's going to look like your land just was a cliff that fell off into the lake. We don't want that. We want it to look like the shore of the lake. So we'll just bring it down at an angle. Same for here. This is also a good chance to shape your land, decide where the lake shore is going to be. Like if I want to bring this out a little bit more because I wanted this to kind of be rounded, I can do that right now. Never a better time than now. It's usually the case for anything. All right. Now we got our basic underlayer of the land. We're going to take a little bit of that same color that we did for the mountain, and we're going to kind of highlight it. So it looks like light hitting some of the rocks and things like that. Maybe in some places use a little brighter color. Yeah, there's some orange. In fact, I like that orange a lot. I think we're going to go back and put that in all across. And when I'm doing this, I'm touching very lightly, just like I did on the mountain and back, and we're letting the paint take what it wants. It makes it break up, makes it look interesting, like rocks and things going on instead of just a solid orange shore. All right. Now the next thing we're going to do is take a little bit of the liquid white, and I'm going to lay it out here on the palette. Just kind of spread it out, cut a thin line of it on the knife, and we're just going to kind of cut into the canvas, almost like we're trying to cut through it rather hard. And we're going to divide the land from the water. This is just what they call a water line. Make things look interesting. You could even use it to put some little ripples here and there on the water, you know, wherever you want. And if you end up not liking what you've done, like a ripple in the water, you can always just go back and and rub over until it disappears with the palette knife. Which I'll show you that because I feel like this one up here is a little bit too bright. Alright, I'm going to wipe my knife off first, and then I'm just going to come back to where it was and just rub it until it disappears. You know, now that I've done that, it looks like I wanted it to look to start with. So I'm going to do a few more just like that. Alright, little ripples and things. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to go into some orange. Just a straight orange color we made. And maybe a little liquid white to go with it to lighten it up, make it thinner so it'll stick. Just put it on your brush. And I'm going to go back in here and put some highlights on some of these bushes. These are really far back in the background, so we don't really want too much. Maybe there's some that are a little taller, little trees sticking up back there. When you're using just 3 colors like this, it's very important that you leave more of the dark as you get closer. It's not important in the background where we're at now because it's very far off in the distance and you're not going to see much color back there. You're just seeing an indication of some colors. And while we're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and clean off the fan brush. Put some highlights on a few of the trees. Now, sometimes the hardest thing to do is decide what you're going to paint. Because you don't want all your paintings to look the same. Alright, we're going to go load up the fan brush with orange. We still have a little of that dark color left in the fan brush, but we want the trees to be pretty dark. These are evergreen trees, so I'm just going to come in and put some little highlights on the side where the light would hit them. You're not going to see much here, just a little touch. Maybe a little liquid white. Got it a little too dark. There we go. This will also help it stick. And maybe up here, you know which side the light's coming from because that's the side you highlighted your mountain on. If you had put the lighter color on this side of the mountain, that would show that your light's probably coming from the other side. So just highlight accordingly. You still want to have a few little highlights and things on the other side, but you want to mainly keep it on the side the light's coming from. And a little bit more. Just barely dabbing these back in the background. You're not going to see that much color from that far away. Just a little bit. Maybe a little bit on this one back here behind this tree. And I'm going to come put some more on the bush that's up front. Alright. Okay, now we'll go back to our 1-inch brush. We'll start highlighting these bushes that are closer. Maybe put some over this dark area. And be sure to leave some of these dark areas open so they look like separate bushes. It's very important. And we'll come back and maybe put some going over the land here. We don't want it looking like it's just floating above the rest. And maybe some of this color is going to reflect into the water, so we'll come back and put that in. And the same as we did before, 2-inch brush and lightly pulled down, very lightly. May end up destroying the water line. Normally you should do this before you put in the water line, but I just decided that I wanted to reflect some of that color, so we're gonna do it. There we go. Had to stand back and take a look at it for a second and decide what I'm gonna do next. Alright, well, now that we got that done, I feel like this side of the painting is very empty and needs something else. So, I'm going to put a land projection going out here. I love making paintings like this where there's just like the lake and it just kind of, or maybe a river or something, just kind of lazily winds through. A slow part of a river. Lazy river. I like that because I'm lazy. I take the easy way out when I'm painting. There's no reason to work hard if you can get the same results doing it another way. Plus, I don't have as much time as I would like to paint. Alright, now I'm going to go back into that highlight color, bright orange. 2-inch brush, and I'm just gonna start putting in some bushes. And as I always say, these are separate bushes and you want to paint them as such, one at a time, and leave that dark area in between them. Usually things are going to get darker as they come towards you in a painting. So it's good that it picks up the paint underneath. Happens automatically, and it's one of the best parts of it. All right, a little bit of orange up here, make it brighter. You know, anyone can paint like this, and that's the point of our show. I want to teach you to paint like this. You do paintings like this and your friends will never believe it you did them. Especially when you tell them you did it using only 3 colors. Alright, next I think I'm going to take a 1-inch brush, go into some of the dark paint. I want to make another little bush out here, something a little bigger than the rest. Let's see, we're gonna big bush. And we want to make sure as we go higher up that we let some more of the background light shine through. When you're down at the bottom, you want it very dark, but as you're going further up, you do want to keep some of that. And I'm going to pick up some more orange and highlight these. And just like when you're doing separate bushes, you want to do little separate tufts of the bigger ones, one at a time. Leave that dark area underneath. It's very important to you. It might not be important to you, but if you don't put it in, you'll see why. Find out very quickly why it is important. And I want this bush to be a little bit different from the others, so I'm going to do something a little bit crazy here. Just going to go down and get some pure white and add some more highlights to it. Want this one to be a little bit brighter than the others. It's a different kind of bush. I want it to stand out. There's some more of that color down in here. And I feel like it's a little too bright down here with the white, so I go back and mix it up a little bit. Put in different stuff. Maybe we got a little spot out here where the fisherman likes to come sit and fish. So we'll put him a little trail going out through there. Just smear it in. It looks disgusting, but we'll cover it up with some bushes and things in a few minutes. All right. Now we're gonna get a little bit of that white, maybe a little bit of orange mixed in. Let's see. Just make it kind of marbled. We don't want to mix it all the way up. And then we're just gonna come across that trail we just made with some color and make it look like highlights on some rocks underneath here. And once we do that, we'll go back in and put some of the dark color over it again. Paint in some more bushes. And we'll highlight those because you want these little details showing through when you get closer. You know, off in the distance, you're not going to see much unless it's like right up against the shore. But you know, when you get closer down here, you're going to see a lot more little details. And you know, if you feel like it or if you have the time, maybe paint in some sticks and things using your script liner brush. When it's dark, you just paint it in. You can come through and highlight it, make it look like bushes again. If you have trouble getting your paint to stick, you can put some liquid white with it, which will change the color a little bit, but it will definitely make things stick better. Or you can use paint thinner. The paint thinner I have in my bucket is green from putting so much paint in it, but you can use some clean paint thinner if you have it. Or you can even thin it with oil, which actually works best, but I usually just use what I have out instead of adding more materials to it. And you know, as you get closer to you want things to be a lot darker. So maybe if you need to, go ahead and put some dark paint back in and then come back over it with a highlight color. That might make this look nice. It'll look real to you. Whatever you want to do. Alright. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the liquid white and mix it up with some brown. And let's see. Just kind of spin the brush around. As you can see, I'm just spinning it in the paint. And if you want this to come out, just start. You can either go down and then like drag them down this way, or you can go from the bottom and go up. I like to go from the bottom up when I'm doing stuff like this. This is easier to do to me. Look at that, throwing my brush on the ground. But you can just put in little sticks and things sticking out. Little dead trees. These are, my dad, he used to like to go fishing a lot, so I'd go with him. I didn't really care for fishing that much, but it's fun to spend time with my dad, of course. So we'd go fish, and I'd always end up getting my hook caught in some little tree like this. It's just sticking off on the side. And make sure you spin the brush so you can bring it to a point. Be easier to put in little details that way. And you can also put some of these things back in here. You might not see them as much. And when you're at home, you have a lot of time to do this because this paint is not going to dry very fast. So you can go through and make this as detailed as you'd like. You can even get like a little one-haired brush and just draw as many of these in as you like. These details are what people really love in paintings. And when you're painting, sometimes you pick up some of the other undercolor and it gets lighter like it did here on this one. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, it kind of looks like it's highlighted on one side. So just go with whatever happens. Don't worry about it too much. Let the paint do the work for you. Maybe you got another little branch out here. And these don't need to be straight. In fact, they would look weird if they were straight. So maybe having a shaky hand is a good thing for doing this kind of work. All right. Now we have a few more minutes left, and I think I'd like to add a few more details to the things in the background. Normally we want to finish the background before we move forward, but sometimes I just can't help myself and I think of things that I want to change. So I'm going to take some white, go down to the palette here so you can see it, and mix it with a little black. It's going to make a gray color. We don't want it to be very dark, just slightly different. We're just going to take a little cut of that, and we're going to come up to canvas, and we're just gonna maybe come along and put a few places where it would show through in this tree. Maybe a little bit back here. We don't want a lot showing through because it looks strange if it's so far away and we got a lot of details. Maybe one here. Maybe get a little bit more of that color. Just put some back here. Little things going on back there. We don't know what. And we're just gonna kind of blend these in. Put some stuff over the top of them. Because we don't want these to look like they're floating on top of the tree. We want them to look like the trunk of the tree. All right, and this is one of the easiest ways to make details. We can come back and take our palette knife and just scrape through the paint all the way to the canvas with it. Just scratch off some little branches and things like that. Just anywhere you think there might be some little sticks showing through. Yeah, there's one right there. And you don't really want to scratch this to death, but it can look nice to have these in here. So just wherever you think they would be, mostly in your dark areas. Maybe a little stick here going across that little rock. And I don't know, I think maybe some more over here. All right, and a couple of these, after you do them, you want to come back through and just bring them into the painting. They look like they stick out too much. If they don't look like trunks or little sticks that are part of the bushes, let's make them look like it. All right, I'm gonna step back and take a look here. You know, I think we're gonna call this the finished painting. And you know, when you watch this episode, I want you to think back on how this is using only 3 colors, and what we were able to do with that, and what you could do with the same. Oh, I just saw something I want to change right here. It's never too late. Even after it dries, if you wanted to come paint over it, you could do it. But just think about what you can do with 3 colors. And it doesn't have to be orange. You could use any color for this. You could use hot pink if you wanted to. In fact, that would look very nice. Maybe it would glow under a black light. Well, I'm glad that you could join us today for the 8th episode of Season 2. And I hope that you'll join us next time. And as always, you can check out our YouTube at youtube.com/thesalem-painter, or email me at thesalem-painter@gmail.com, or just add us on Facebook. Just search for The Salem Painter. Well, thanks. We'll see you next time.